welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Dan,
Chris,
Lee.
What have we got this week? Because there has been a little bit of news.
Little bits of news, little bits of tidbits of information and other things, but nothing major.
We've had more exciting weeks, haven't we?
have.
Well, let's face it.
News-wise.
Let's face it, it's the opposite.
And in life.
And in life.
Yeah.
I don't know, I had quite an exciting weekend.
But like you say, it is the off-season.
Super Bowl.
It was the Super Bowl. I was watching that, but that's for another time in another podcast with some other people. Let's start with a rumour that's getting officially denied.
Ooh.
Pascal Wehrlein is a rumour that's been officially denied.
Well, he's alive,
Yeah.
as far as we know.
They're doing medical tests to make sure.
He did the Race of Champions, didn't he? And him and Felipe had a little bit of a ding-dong, should we say, and ended up with Pascal Wehrlein pretty much upside down.
Yeah.
But he seemed fine, because I watched the Race of Champions highlights after the Race of Champions, and he sort of got out, was sort of carrying his out, walking back, didn't seem to need to go to the medical tent at all or anything, and seemed fine. Just walked off, and he was interviewed afterwards, wasn't he?
He had 2 broken legs, but he was that arrogant he didn't even realise.
I think there was a worry at one point he'd got like a fractured hairstyle.
Yeah.
But then
apart
Lego turned up and replaced it.
Yeah. But apart from that, he was interviewed afterwards, wasn't he?
Yes.
After the incident, so there was no major concern for Pascal, but it appears that a neck injury might have been underlying at the time.
Yeah, well, he didn't do the Sunday events, which of course meant that Sebastian Vettel was Team Germany and won everything.
Yeah, the rumor is that Pascal Wehrlein won't be fit for Formula One testing, which is now only 3 weeks away.
Which Sauber are now officially denying.
Well, they're not denying. They're denying that that's confirmed.
No, I think they're denying there's a rumour.
Something like that. But they're denying that they're not confirming that Pascal Wehrlein won't be able to take part in the first
Seems
test.
strange, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. And the thing is, Sauber don't have a third driver at the moment, as far as I'm aware, anyway.
Well, Giovinazzi
It's gone to Ferrari.
has gone to Ferrari, but can be the third Sauber driver, but he'll be there with Ferrari, surely.
Yeah, he will be driving.
You don't know.
I do.
They'll give him a lap.
No, not on the first test.
Pastor Maldonado, anyone?
We could see him back.
Well.
But Sauber have tweeted current rumours about Pascal Wehrlein in the media. The medical examinations are still ongoing. How long does it take to look at someone's neck and go, yes, it's a neck?
Yeah, and yes, it's working, or no, it's not.
Yeah. Can you turn your head? No.
He just waits for the world to revolve around him.
Stop.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
But rumours that he's currently resembling Randall McMurphy out of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest might be a little far-fetched.
Yeah, I think I wrote down in the show notes, Pascal might be too drooly to drive.
Yes.
But yeah, where will this leave Sauber? Last year's engine.
Do you really want me to answer
Only
that?
one driver. Yeah, how many?
It's better than turning up with 4.
Why don't Felipe Nasser just take a seat back?
Guido van der Garde.
Oh no, not Guido van der Garde.
Of course.
The atmosphere in the team might be a bit nicer for the first test.
Good Lord.
Yeah, so Guido van der Garde, if you're listening, please stop. We don't want you.
No, turn off now.
Switch it off now. But if you are listening, this is the last bit you're allowed to listen to. Just turn up at Sauber. They'll give you a go. Surely it's happened before, hasn't it?
They didn't give him a go though. That's the thing.
Oh no, he had a go at them. That was it.
Yeah.
Still 3 weeks away from the first test, and launch is coming up. We've had our invite from Toro Rosso.
Thank
Thank you very much, Toro Rosso.
Yeah, thank you to Toro Rosso for inviting us to the launch.
To your party.
Yes, to their car launch in Barcelona, which we can't go to because to get off the Isle of Man, you've got to book a flight about 2 years in advance.
Yeah, there is that. And also, I like that our invite. I'm hopefully not giving away too much information here, but our invite states that where'd you have to be for this? In front of their garage in the Barcelona test on Sunday of that particular weekend. So, yes.
But they have announced that they are launching their car on Sunday of the first test.
Yeah, but like Red Bull,
their
they'll just
garage.
be announcing they'll just take the covers off the cars in the garage, like we were saying pre-podcast. It's like a lot of teams do that now.
Yeah, I think most teams really. It's only the I mean, even
McLaren do factory launches, don't they?
McLaren, Ferrari, Renault are doing one, aren't they?
Mercedes.
Yeah.
Mercedes.
Oh no, they're doing a Silverstone.
Mercedes
launch.
are launching at Silverstone, not in the factory. Force India are launching at Silverstone, and
Yeah, but I still consider if they're launching anywhere that isn't at the first test, it's still essentially a launch.
a launch, yeah. And
Organised
just one thing for Renault: if you are going to stream your launch live on the internet this time, turn the bloody cameras on.
Yeah, turn the cameras on and make sure the sound works.
Yeah, because last year you saw lots of footage of the backs of people's heads, and you heard lots of muffled mumbling.
It's amazing, isn't it? I realise things are never as easy as you think they should be, but in a world where we can essentially live stream stuff to our Facebooks and Twitters from our mobile phone, it's amazing how often big companies get live streaming wrong, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is
it
actually.
is.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind that we've managed to record a pod where 3 channels were Chris.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I was in 3 microphones. Lee was in 1.
Well,
and
no,
Paul and Dan were missing entirely.
I had man flu last week. No excuse. Yeah, I'm not very good with compute. No, that's not.
No.
That's
that
your
one's
job.
I know that one's not going to wash either.
Technical
Is it?
difficulties.
Technical difficulties. We'll go for that one.
That's going to be Sauber's main
Ghosts.
complaint.
It was ghosts.
Aliens.
Yeah.
It'll be Sauber's main complaint. Will
Donald
be technical
Trump.
difficulties.
Everything else has been his fault lately.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Is it Donald Trump's fault that Paddy Lowe is now back at Williams officially?
Probably.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Case closed.
He's back at Williams, but not actually working there yet, because they haven't agreed working terms with. I know that his contract expired with Mercedes, but he was still supposed to have a certain period of gardening leave.
Well, perhaps he's doing the gardening at Williams.
Maybe he is. And before he goes to another team, just a couple of little details to iron out. But yeah, Williams have announced that he is part of their team and will be for 2017, and is going to essentially oversee the whole racing aspect of the team. He's pretty much doing what Patrick Head used to do. And
Shout at people.
well, no, as far as I can tell, is that not what Rob Smedley's job was at Williams?
Well, Rob Smedley was brought into Williams as, what was he, head of performance?
Yeah, but now
And he's been moted now, hasn't he? I don't know if it's promotion or a demotion.
Or
but
a
he's-
sideways motion.
yeah, but now
Yeah.
Paddy Lowe is essentially the racing director at Williams, and it looks like he's going to become a shareholder in the team and on the board of directors as well. The main reason for him leaving Mercedes and going to Williams was that Mercedes could not fulfill Paddy's personal ambitions.
King of the world.
What more could he want? You can't fulfil my personal ambitions. They've won the last 3 drivers and constructors championships with
Perhaps he wanted to have his own
best
piece of a
car.
team,
Yeah.
or be the head honcho by himself without having Toto stood next to
Yeah,
him.
not just be an employee, maybe.
Yeah, be the chief man. Low Formula One. Who knows? That might happen
Yeah.
one day. But Paddy Lowe was at Williams years ago. Anyway, he was part of the. He was, I believe, he was the man who came up with the program that powered the Williams active suspension in the early '90s.
Yeah.
That does sound familiar.
And he was also part of the. I think he was Damon Hill's race engineer for the years that he was at Williams for as well.
Apart from his championship winning year, when his Damon's race engineer was, chief mechanic was Adrian Newey.
Well, there you go.
But what Paddy Lowe is expected to be doing at Williams is not just with the F1 team, it's going to be with the whole Williams technology group as well. He will be
With the refrigerators.
overseeing that, refrigerators, but making aerodynamic fridge shelves.
Yeah, branching out into washing machines probably.
Wouldn't surprise me.
No.
All sorts of white goods.
For those who don't know the aerodynamic fridge shells, it's circulation of air, isn't it, based on F1 wings?
Yeah,
To keep
We've
fridges
mentioned
cooler.
it so many times, I'll be surprised.
that's true. That's a regular fallback. But did you know? Well, yes.
It's one of those facts that you can tell your friends over and over again, and it's so boring they've probably forgotten it since the last time you said it.
Did you know that Patrick Head still owns 9% of the team, according to this BBC story?
Yes, Patrick Head still owns 9%. Frank Williams owned 51%.
Yes.
Team people who work for the team, employees, don't they own about 5% or something?
4%, and somebody called Brad Hollinger has 15,
Oh,
and then 21% of publicly traded shares in Frankfurt.
He's the American businessman, isn't he, who tried to take over Williams some years ago.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where Lawrence Stroll fits into all this with the money that he's putting in.
He will be named soon, I guess, as a major shareholder of the team.
Has he bought shares in the team? Is that definite?
Well, there's been nothing official, but there was a couple of interviews that were on Sky towards the end of last year when it looked like Lance Stroll was going to be the one. It was before the official announcement. And it was like, of course he's coming in. His dad's going to be funding the team and buying half of it. I thought that was what somebody said.
It's
kind of
30
off the
million
cuff.
for the drive, and there's also apparently a sponsorship deal. Expected to see Tommy Hilfiger name on the car quite clearly, and there's an investment package that goes with that as well. So I don't think Lance Stroll will be leaving that team anytime soon, even if it is just a 1-year deal.
I think it will be.
I want to hope he's good, don't they?
They do want to hope he's good, yeah.
I know he's bringing a lot of money there, but you kind of need the.
Guess who else brought a lot of money? Pastor Maldonado.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you need results, don't you, as well?
Yeah, while we're on the subject of Williams, they kind of more or less officially announced that it was pressure from Martini that they had to get an older driver in.
Which is what we were saying the whole time.
Yeah, I think anyone could have seen that coming because they needed an over 25-year-old to do the booze flogging, and Williams have more or less come out and admitted that now. I think Claire Williams said it last week.
Said, yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted someone older for the sponsors. Like, you don't have to look far for which one, do you?
Yeah.
What else have we got? Nico Rosberg.
It was the fridges, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Because you can't operate a fridge if you're under 25.
Did you know about the
that's-
fridges?
how many like 20-year-olds buy fridges? You're not going to shift many fridges to that demographic. You're looking over 35s.
All the cool kids are getting fridges these days.
Well, no, they're not. All the cool kids are getting their second fridge because they're that cool. They've worn out the first one.
Dry as the Sahara.
I was just thinking back. I think I was about 27 when I bought my first fridge.
Fuck off! You had a pantry back then.
It was called a scullery. That's where we kept the skulls. No, I was going to say I was 27 when I got my first fridge because I acquired all my furniture when my mum moved out on me.
Well, it was nice of her.
Yeah, she left me with the furniture, so we just carried on using that fridge until it packed in.
Fair enough.
Anyway, Nico Rosberg.
No, Nico Rosberg, that man who used to be part of the sport, is still the incumbent champion, but was not really going to be around that much during 2017.
Ambassador Rosberg. He has
Ferrero Rocher.
I was going to say
Rosberg.
he's dropped another Ferrero Rocher of a news story on
Ferrero Rosberg.
Really spoiling us.
No, he actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wanted Alonso to replace him.
Allegedly so.
Yes.
Allegedly so. He said that his preference as his replacement, if he was given a choice, would have been Fernando Alonso, because he sees Fernando Alonso as the
the heir to his talent.
well, yeah, double world champion Fernando Alonso, as the perfect replacement because of his
The fact that it would piss Lewis off.
Yeah, the fact. But I think what Rosberg's trying to say, without actually saying it, is I think he's the best driver on the grid. I think that's what Nico's trying to say.
I think Nico would have wanted Alonso to go there, hopefully get beaten by Lewis, and then he could have gone, well, I beat Lewis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I must be better than Alonso, who's better than Schumacher, who is the greatest driver ever, and I'm better than both of them. Therefore, I'm the greatest. Now, go away.
Yeah, that carries about as much weight as Dan being better than Jenson Button.
Pretty much.
that is true, though.
I like the idea of him then going, I shall now live a fruitful life on Earth, and then after my time on Earth, I'm coming for you, Ayrton.
Oh dear.
Once he's evolved into a source of pure energy.
Me and my mate decided that due to Sting's tantric sex, that's what he's going to do one day. Is just ascend at some point.
What, up his own arsehole?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think he's already done
But
that.
then what happens is he just floats around the earth, and for every man that's trying to rub one out and can't do it, he just like places his hand upon his shoulder and just helps.
And then 36 hours later.
Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah, we're back to your wet bed story from the Patreon podcast, aren't we?
Fucking hell! Go subscribe because that sounds really bad. I didn't wee the bed. I didn't do anything in the bed. It was a story about other people.
You just videoed it.
Yeah, that's what happened.
That's true.
So Nico Rosberg
This
then.
is what you miss by not subscribing to our Patreon.
So Nico Rosberg then. Come on. What
desperately trying to wrangle a train back onto tracks like a wild stallion.
Yep. Pretty much. That's me.
So, Nico Rosberg then.
Yeah. What's he trying to do?
Get
Because let's
remember
not.
me. I'm the world
I think
champion.
he's trying to keep Mercedes in the newspapers.
Yeah, I think he is.
Trying to keep Mercedes, is he? Because you got that's a conflict of his ambassadorial role, though. Surely, saying that I would have put this person in because that would have basically upset the guy who I was teammate with.
You know what's
for all those
happened,
years.
don't you? What's happened is much more uninteresting than that. Is the fact he's been in the interview and someone said, what do you think about Bottas? He's probably said, he's a fine driver, he'll do a good job. But I was kind of hoping, like the rest of the fans, that it would have been Alonso that had gone in.
He won't even have said that. He'll have been asked, was he your first choice to replace you?
Yeah. And
was there anyone else you would have liked?
Yeah, and the whole thing's been exploded into a...
That's probably what's
thing.
happened. Yeah.
And by the way, here's my trophy.
Have you seen it, by the way?
Oh, better mute that. I've just brought something up that I've just seen. That Rosberg is going to sit down with Bottas and talk him through what to do when he's driving for Mercedes.
I'm pretty sure Bottas knows how to drive a car.
But he won't give away any of Lewis Hamilton's secrets.
Then what's the point?
Yeah. So Valtteri,
Can't the engineers talk him through the difficult bits?
Well,
He's
yeah.
made him sound more like a magician than a driver.
Yeah. Welcome to the Mercedes Circle. I can show you the basics, but I can't reveal the secrets of the masters.
So I mean, Rosberg's going to sit down.
Sorry, Bottas walking through the Mercedes,
Big dry
thing.
ice.
Only the penitent man may pass. Only the penitent.
So Rosberg's going to sit down with Bottas and tell him how to succeed at Mercedes. And the first thing he's going to tell him is, don't be Finnish.
Well,
Yeah, change your nationality.
yeah,
Hourly.
unless you go to McLaren, they love Finns.
That's a good point.
Oh, they loved Finns.
Well, they did.
That.
Yeah.
Ron Dennis.
Yeah,
loved
Ron
the Finn.
Dennis liked the finish. I just realised how that sounded. I'm so very sorry.
Are we back
people.
to Sting again?
Just fucking buttering himself up.
Oh, God.
To finish me, first you must be finished.
No. Tell you what, we will move on to Ron Dennis. Is it his fault that McLaren isn't going to be called the MP4 anymore?
I don't know that it's his fault, but I think it might be his prerogative.
Or his doing?
No, I
Yeah.
don't think it's him. I think they're de fucking running it.
Well, Zach Brown did say that they were intending to continue calling the car MP4.
And then he changed his mind.
Didn't
Well,
we
it should-
talk about this last week?
It should be MP4-32.
Yeah, but they're essentially like Ron when he came back, de-whip-marched McLaren.
Oh yeah.
Now
But
McLaren is
even
being
with Whit-
de-Ronned,
Even with
bombed.
Whitmarsh though,
Yeah, we did do
Ron-
that.
Ron-
We did that joke last week.
I
did,
thought I just
we
saw it
did.
on the Facebook.
I can't remember. It's been a long week.
but the car was still called MP4 because that's Ron Dennis's thing, isn't it? Whereas McLaren have now officially announced that it's MCL32.
At least they're not calling it like the MZB1.
Do you know what the MP stands for?
It's McLaren Project 4, isn't
Marlboro.
it? Marlboro
Project
Project
4.
Marlboro Project 4.
It was originally Marlboro Project 4, but then when they moved to the West sponsorship, it became McLaren Project 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was McLaren Project 4, but fair enough, yeah. MP4, because even their road car, their first road car of the 21st century is MP4-12C, which is still strange, but...
Saw one of those.
Did you?
Yeah, on Saturday.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, somebody was taking it for a drive over the mountain road.
Yeah, there is a P1 over here.
Yeah, I've seen the P1.
Yeah. I've got stuck behind the P1, which was doing about 12 mile an hour.
Over speed bumps.
Over Ferry Bridge.
Ah! Should have overtaken it. That would have been hilarious.
There's a little insight into our foreign listeners. The type of place we live. We have a place called Ferry Bridge.
They've even named a T after it.
Yes,
They have, actually, yeah.
And the indigenous folk, as in us, won't go past the place without saying hello to the fairies.
I know you've got
Bad
to.
luck.
Yeah, you've got to.
It's really funny if you've just moved over here.
Or if you first time someone gets off the plane.
Yeah, first time you get off the plane, because if you're getting the bus from the airport into Douglas, you've got to go over it. Mm-hmm. And the first time I flew back, I'd only been living here a week, and I'd never been down south before, and I'd never had to go over it. And I'm sat on a bus, and all of a sudden, there's all this mumbling for about 2 seconds.
And a tiny, tiny Mexican wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, which happens on the bus.
Yeah, and everybody's saying hello to the fairies and waving at them as their part of the bus is crossing it. And I'm sat there going...
The buses actually announce it now. We're coming up to the Ferry Bridge. The locals say hello to the fairies.
Oh, right.
Oh, right. Yeah, they never used to. But yeah,
I haven't been on the bus that way for a long time.
I haven't been on a bus for a very long time. Far too middle class for that shit.
Have we run out of Formula 1 news already?
No, we have. We've just diverted off on a complete tangent again.
That's not like us at all.
No, not in the slightest. What do we think about McLaren's colour scheme?
Orange.
The latest thing.
Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, we've been talking about how they've been teasing orange and things like that. I mean, let's not drag it on for too long. But they did.
Pissed myself. It was black and silver.
Do you know what they? It would be funny, wouldn't it? But they actually took a photo of their M16E, which is not a very well known McLaren car, and stuck that on their Instagram profile, which is green, white, and red, because it was sponsored by Gatorade.
Also the colours for Castrol.
Also the colours for Castrol, who are joining as a fuel sponsor, aren't they? We know how keen McLaren are to have their fuel sponsor on the car, as they were with Mobil 1, but Mobil 1 are now off to Red Bull. So there was that, and ever since they did that picture, they've now gone back to the old red and white photos again. But I mean, the countdown clock is still in orange. The change your game thing is their seems to be their motto for the build up for their car launch. McLaren like a good build up for their car launch, don't they?
The only thing that makes me think it's not going to be too radical is the fact that like everything would have to change. Like the whole, if they were going to go orange, all the motorhomes would have to be changed.
Well, they're de-running wrong.
Yeah, well, but without a sponsor.
Well, they've been on the phone to Renault saying, you know, all those stickers that you got last year.
Yeah.
What company did you use that can make them quick? Because we want to borrow those.
No, but I actually mean like the transport trucks and stuff and the colour of them, because they're all black and silver, aren't they?
Yeah.
And
Black and silver might still work with the colour scheme, but
yeah, but you don't usually see it, do you? If your Formula One team changes its shit, everything changes with it. Even Sauber, you know, when they change colour, their shit changed with it. So I can't see anything radical happening until 2018 if they can get like a proper sponsor to essentially pay for all that doings.
I would like that orange, that crackled orange effect.
That's what I think it's going to be.
Yeah. Black with the crackled orange, like the old McLaren sort of bursting through almost a little bit.
It could even be close. Oops, sorry about that. It could even be a bit closer to what this one was, with like the red highlights, but it just had more orange highlights on it. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it could.
That was very strange when your chair landed on the floor. My mic picked it up more than yours did.
Are you sure you're recording this correctly?
I am positive I'm recording this correctly. This week.
But it's a good point that the vans are probably going to give away the colour scheme for the cars. So if we've got any listeners
who live in Woking,
Can you watch out for the McLaren vans pulling out of the garage to go to Barcelona? And we'll see if we can get a scoop on this.
Yeah, give us a picture.
Yeah.
Unless they're sending them in a load of unmarked trucks and they're going to decorate them when they get there.
Any listeners in the Basingstoke, Woking sort of area, just sort of give us a
heads up.
Yeah,
will you?
give us a heads up, and we'll give you a shout out if you manage to get us
Martin
any hint.
Whitmarsh, you do it.
If you manage to get us any hint of what might be coming McLaren livery wise, I think it's a change.
Not that we're obsessed or anything.
Yes, we are.
Okay, yeah, we are. Fair enough. Max Mosley's back in the news.
Why? Who's he whipped now?
He's been speaking to Sky, and he's had a few things to say. And
It wasn't him?
well, no, it was. They got it on video.
Oh, right, fair enough.
I like Max Mosley, but
Yeah, we're being unfair on him. Well, I am.
No, but the only thing is, he's a bit gruff when you get him in interviews. He's Nazi friendly.
Oh dear.
Oh god. Yeah, he said that he would get rid of Ferrari's payment. Well,
The extra payment.
The extra payment.
Yeah.
Which pretty much everyone who isn't Bernie has said.
Yeah.
He
I mean,
also-
one thing that he was always in favour of.
He said he'd keep Bernie as well, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, yes.
I suppose it's his right to have an opinion.
Oh, just no.
Good lord.
Good God. Yeah, he said he'd keep Bernie, get rid of Ferrari's extra payment, but he was the one that was in favour of the salary cap, which was going to be brought in, and then he got kind of deposed for
You got marched out.
off-track incidents.
Yes.
Shall we say? Which led to Manor, Marussia, Caterham, Hispania,
Yeah.
Virgin.
Clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Is he making political moves, or do you think he wants to get in with Chase Carey?
Do you know what?
He probably likes his moustache.
For all of Max
Which
Mosley's...
is there because of the result of a car crash, and it is hiding a scar.
Oh, is it?
It is, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. Just want to thank who was it that tweeted that to us, and we looked it up, and it's like, oh god, yeah. Why didn't we think of that before? David Roebuck.
Tell you why we didn't think of it before. Because it's fucking crazy.
Same reason my boss has a moustache, and apparently he has a giant scar from not from a car accident, though, from a fight.
Can you cover a giant scar with a moustache?
Yeah,
All right.
apparently so. But the
Depends
Yeah.
how big the moustache is.
Well-
Chase Carey's got a giant moustache.
There's a giant moustache.
it is a quite large moustache actually. He looks like the Monopoly Man. But
No, it's the King of Town from Homestar Runner.
he is. Yeah, actually,
And I just want to say
yes.
great job to Frank Poe for pointing that one out. Early 2000s pop culture references. Let's go.
I was miles away.
That's all
Wash
right.
over my head.
Yeah. You've got to have watched it to understand.
That's probably.
Yeah.
But back to
Carry
Max
on.
Mosley though.
Back
If
to Max Mosley.
He was not a terrible person to have in charge of the FIA.
No, I think him and Bernie worked well together.
Yeah.
Him and Bernie worked well together, but it was because I think Max Mosley was the sensible side of Bernie's persona.
Yeah, Bernie, let's have nuclear fire bees. Max, let's not.
Yeah, it was the Biden Obama thing, wasn't it, with those two really? But like, sort of.
He was a lot more powerful figure within Formula One than John Todd is now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that. Yeah, and he reined in Bernie's not stupidness, but his craziness. He did rein that in, and also when things went a little bit south with the sport, when the teams association had dissolved and then got back together again, and I think now has subsequently dissolved again and back together, and the Grand Prix Drivers Association, when that was formed as well, it was all done with the help of Max Mosley. He did help develop the sport an awful lot, and he hasn't been given the credit. It's all gone to Bernie because Bernie's just been booted out the door, but Max needs to be given some of that credit too. He wouldn't be a terrible addition to the sport again, but I think Chase Carey and the rest of the Formula One group are going to look to move away from what's
Yeah, from the past.
What's happened? Yeah.
I this is the thing.
What's been and gone has been and gone.
He's been perfectly good in his job in the past, but I don't believe that it would be in the best interest of the sport to
And I also
take
think
somebody else on like that.
was it been 10 years now as well since he was head of the FIA?
2009, I think it was his last year.
Was it?
Yeah, but
So-
all you need to do is walk past his house to get his opinions on Formula One.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
he's been away from that particular position and the inside men and
Yeah.
women, the sport. Actually, what am I saying? There are no inside women in the sport. It's all run by men, which is pretty bad. The inside men. He's not had the contact, and he's not been with the F1 circus, so he's
Or
a bit out of touch.
I was just gonna say, or had any interest in like modern media? You'd say.
Well,
he's only
well,
because-
that doesn't discount him, because look at Jean Todt with his assistant printing out the Twitter.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't matter. None of these people should be in the position they are unless they know like all the areas that are surrounding them.
Yeah.
And I include John Todd in that. I think John Todd's probably, if we're honest, been a bad FIA president.
He's been, I wouldn't say he's been bad. He's been...
No, the last time anyone said bad FIA president, well, it got caught on video and...
Yeah. But the thing is,
He's been inert. He hasn't done anything.
Exactly.
You've
Just
never heard Jean Todt come out and say, we can't do that because of this,
Yeah.
and this.
Or we must do this.
Because of safety
Yeah.
grounds, or because of, dwindling fan numbers at circuits. We have to do so. He's not proactive, and he doesn't...
All he does is turn up and go, hello, I'm president of the FIA.
Yeah, pretty much.
the guy works
oh,
in the
we need to
wheel.
decide
What?
something. Let's have a court hearing on this in Geneva.
Although he may just be a lot more low key than.
Yeah, but Formula One doesn't do well with low key. Formula One only seems to listen when a load of people shout as loud as possible, and then the loudest person gets heard.
Which was usually Bernie.
Yeah, and as far as like him just leaving stuff going, like if the guy that was driving the Titanic went for a week
Captain Smith.
and said, Captain John, will you just take the wheel for a minute? And he carried on going in the same direction. He wasn't complicit, but you can't say he did a good job by just holding it straight.
Yeah, no, actually,
No,
I don't think Smith was at the wheel when Titanic hit the iceberg. I think he was actually asleep in his quarters because it wasn't his shift. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but it was Max Mosley's shift when things went wrong, and it's been John Todd's shift when things have gone wrong recently, and he's not done a great deal.
No.
Yeah, he's been very quiet.
But I mean, the head of the FIA is somebody, when it comes to Formula One, has historically been in Bernie's pocket.
You could probably say that's true of Jean Todt as well.
Yeah, because Formula
I
One.
don't think Max Mosley was.
Well, when Mosley was in charge of the FIA, he was also Bernie's second in command for Formula One, and Bernie was his second in command of the FIA. So it was basically the cartel of the pair of them running it.
Yeah.
Formula One puts the most money into the FIA coffers, and the last thing that anyone wants to do is rock the boat.
I think you'll find Formula E is an FIA championship. No, you're right, sorry.
Most international motorsports.
That puts the most bitcoins into.
Yeah, but most international motorsports are now ratified by the FIA.
Yeah.
WRC is an FIA.
But Formula
thing.
One is still
It's
the big earner. It's still the money
Yeah,
maker.
it is. Yeah, you don't see the head of the FIA, Jean Todt, at WRC events.
no.
He just doesn't turn up.
I saw him at a Formula E event.
There you go.
So he was the other spectator. Not on the running order. I'm going rogue, but it's a story that I've just found.
Do it.
Robert Kubica wants to test an F1 car.
Robert Kubica's also doing Le
Again.
Mans 24 hours, isn't he?
Yeah, he's joined a WEC team, the Bicolors LMP1 outfit. But now this, I don't get this, because everything that all the current drivers have said about the 2017 Formula One cars is
Harder to drive.
going to put a lot more strain on the driver. He's only got one hand that's fully attached.
He can use his other hand.
He can use his other hand.
He's
He
just
can
not
drive with it.
he's not fully dexterous with it.
Yeah. Is it going to be too much for him? Should he just...
Well, isn't that why you test?
Yeah.
I
To find
actually
out.
don't think testing is a bad idea for Robert Kubica. Just if it's only just to put it to bed once and for all. You know, if a team says, you know what, Robert, you were pretty handy way back in the day. So we'll give you a test, and if you're quick, we might consider you for a seat for next year. We'll see how it goes. You know, and he goes out there and he's complete dog turd. Then there's your answer, Robert. You haven't got it anymore.
He's too old now.
He reckons he could do 80% of the circuits.
Well, that's not very handy, is it?
We've already had that one.
So, yeah.
So 1 in
It's gonna be
5. So
fine.
he'd miss 4 races a year
Yeah.
because of his injured hand.
Yes.
And then he'd wave goodbye to the others. Doesn't matter.
No.
Good lord.
Yeah.
I suspect the teams wouldn't say, yeah, let's take a driver who can only do 80% of the tracks.
Okay, Robert, you've got the drive, but you've got to win those ones, yeah?
For example, they put him in. Let's say the Enstone team sort of take a little bit of a sympathetic hand to Robert Kubica. And they say, come on then, test this car out for us. And
They go out on a limb for him.
yeah. And he gets into the car and he goes out and does the test, and he's a second quicker than the Mercedes is around that particular circuit. Now, hang on a second, he might only be able to do 16 of the 20 races this season, but he might win us 10 of those races. Would it be worth a shot?
No, because what we're doing here is we're not talking real world sport here. We're making a film.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember the last time that Formula One tried to make a film and it turned into that IndyCar thing with Sylvester Stallone? What was it? Driven.
Well, yeah.
Was that a Formula One trying to make a film? Because there have been Formula One films that are good.
Yeah, but the
Rush.
Senna.
Yeah, but this one had the backing of Bernie and the FIA. It was when Stallone used to turn up at all these races. And then he had a massive fallout with someone and it became Driven and it was about IndyCar.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very good.
No.
And it had Jacques Villeneuve in it.
Yeah.
In a speaking role.
Oh, no.
But thankfully not in a singing role.
Jesus.
Do we really want that again?
Well, Formula, what was it? Grand Prix, the movie, the 60s one.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I've got the I've got that on DVD and it's the deluxe version and it's presented as it was at the pictures and it's even got a 10-minute intermission in it.
Oh, ace.
I fast forwarded through it because
enough.
there was.
Does it come with ice cream?
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
It was like hang on a minute, I'm just off to the fridge. It doesn't have the same effect.
No, it doesn't.
No, we'll have to
The fridge made by Williams.
No,
Oh.
no, unfortunately.
Did you know about the Williams fridges?
Yeah, full of men with no women.
What?
Oh no, that's the FIA fridge.
Yeah, that's the Formula One in general
Yeah.
fridge. Continue.
I can't. I've been completely.
Williams are quite good
derailed.
at putting women in the sport. Susie Wolff and Claire Williams.
Yeah, and then you've got Sauber, who
Manisha Carlton-Bourne.
who turned up to one race in 12 last year.
Yes.
Nico Rosberg.
She was with the
Brittany.
team.
Yeah, I suppose she had other things on her plate to do with the team rather than running it, which is
Help,
I don't
Flood.
know.
What?
Steer it back.
Well, we were talking about F1, just in a slightly different way.
And it was Flood who steered it away.
I did, actually. That's quite right.
Just like Kubica would do if his wrist wasn't working properly.
Oh, Jesus.
His wrist is fine. It's his hand.
Well, the wrist bone's connected to the
Hand bone.
steering wheel.
The hand bone's connected to the nothing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, am I gonna remember about? Remember,
This boat's connected to the meaty pulp.
do you remember about 18 months ago we recorded a podcast that was so bad that
Are we on the verge of that again?
we're heading that way?
Hit me with news. I want news.
I've kind of run out. We've gone through all the running order because there's kind of a lack of.
There's not much going on. but
Let's
that's
play
because
a game.
Go on then. Do you have a game for us?
I have a game.
Now do we have to wait while your laptop boots up?
It shouldn't. No, so we're all on.
Let's all go to the lobby. Has Lee saved it this time?
Are you offering our listeners a 10-minute intermission?
No. Well, I was going to, but
Not only have I saved it, I've got a little file called quiz.
oh, look at that. So hang on. So for anybody who's missed the last 2 podcasts, shame on you. And this is Lee's game, which has been thoroughly well received.
Yeah.
Right.
In which Lee gives us clues, and we have to guess who the person is.
I'm going to flip reverse some of these questions.
What's the game called?
Who is a total shunt? We need a jingle, don't we? This needs a jingle.
Who is a total shunt?
Yes.
And we only get 3 guesses.
I could get our American voiceover man to do one. Remember the guy?
Him.
Remember the guy that did those voiceovers that we got
it was
for...
horrible. It made me want to bleach my ears.
You did that by accident the last time you went blonde.
Well, yeah, maybe. Right. You have 3 guesses.
Yeah.
10 questions. Who am I?
Let's have the first clue.
I won my first recognised... sorry. My first win in a recognised world championship came in 1995.
First win in a recognised world championship.
Yes.
Came in 1995.
Right, so we're probably looking... I mean, if it's a recognised world championship, you're looking at like a lower formula.
Yeah. So we're probably looking at hitting Formula 1 2, 3, 4 years after that.
Yeah.
So people who came into Formula 1
About
late 90s.
Late 90s, maybe 2000.
2000. I know one driver that came into Formula 1 in 2000 but hadn't taken part in a world championship, and he wouldn't do Jenson Button anyway, so...
No, you're possibly looking... I was thinking...
I don't know. I can see Lee doing being Jenson Button so that we could all say, "You're Jenson Button."
I'm thinking along the lines of
skin.
2001. I think we had Raikkonen in, didn't we? And then, but 6 years after a first world championship, that's quite a long time. And then Alonso was 2002. Was it his first year? That's again 7 years after, so that's quite late.
Yeah, he came from the Briatore factory, and he liked to move them through fairly quickly. So.
Yeah, so we're thinking somebody perhaps earlier than that coming into Formula 1.
Yeah, so we're possibly looking at about sort of 99.
98, 99-ish.
But I've got nothing at the moment.
No names
No,
yet.
no. But I think it's the right way to start thinking.
In the year 2000, I had a licensed video game.
In 2000, right? I'm just trying to think. So that would have been round about PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64 era.
When did Ralph Schumacher come into the sport?
Starting to have a microphone failure there.
Brother
Apologies for
Ralph, as Murray Walker always called him.
It was nice to have a man at the cloth in the sport, wasn't it?
About 96?
96, 97
Yeah.
was Ralph Schumacher. In the year 2000, he had a game.
A licensed video game.
So who would have had the name on a game round about that time?
Would Jacques Villeneuve have had a game named after him at that point? And would he have taken part in a world championship?
Well, no, because Jacques Villeneuve never used to appear in video games.
Because he had his own licensed game.
Yeah, because I had... it was Grand Prix Manager 2, and they got a kind of lookalike in for the driver photo, and they called him John Newhouse.
Yeah, and in F1 97 it was Williams #1.
Yeah, because he never sold his rights. I think Jacques Villeneuve's a good shout to possibly put on the back burner for maybe another clue.
So licensed video. So there's going to be somebody who's pretty well known. In the year 2000...
Was there a video game called Nick Heidfeldt's World of Disappointment?
No, but I would totally shop there.
Oh, I was having a good day. Until I entered Nick Heidfeldt's World of Disappointment.
Ukio Katayama's backwards challenge.
I was promised the best shopping trip of my life. What actually happened was I left with a mouldy orange.
Shall we have another clue eventually?
I'm just wondering if there's anyone who's come to the sport recently from a different sport, so would be a late entrant into Formula One, but would have had a game named after them that wasn't a Formula
in
One
1995, Colin McRae was world rally champion, and then around about 2000, he would have had a PlayStation game named after him. But don't think he's got an awful lot to do with Formula One.
But Colin McRae's rally, that was on about the 3rd edition by 2000.
He was in Focus Rally days at that point. I think.
I will interject here to remind you of the rules.
That it is a Formula One person.
No, it is someone involved in motorsport.
Right. So we could be looking at Colin McRae, potentially.
Would you like another
Yes, please. Yes.
Please.
I have drove for several manufacturers, but only winning a world championships for one.
Colin McRae drove for Ford, Subaru, and then Ford again. Don't know if he drove for anyone else. Several manufacturers would seem like more than that to me. If it was rally, that is.
Richard Burns flitted around quite a few teams.
Richard Burns was the world champion.
And had a video game.
Sorry, can you just repeat question 1?
No.
Oh,
I think it was one of his first recognised event, not recognised championship, world recognised event.
Did you mention the FIA?
No, just recognised world championship event.
So we could be going down the IndyCar route here.
World Championship.
Or motorbikes.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on. Right, go on. How many clues have we had?
Was that 3 or 4?
That's 4.
And we've got how many? 8.
No, 3. 3 you've had.
We've got 10 in total.
Right. In 2000, they had a game named after them. I think that's too early for Valentino Rossi.
And he's won championships for more than one team.
Yes, Honda and Yamaha. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to need another clue, I think, Lee.
I won the N class Finnish Rally World Championship in 1988.
Oh, bloody hell. So it's
Tommy Mäkinen.
Tommy Mäkinen was world champion around the time that I think that's going to be a pretty good shout, purely because Tommy Mäkinen was world champion in World Rally Championship from 96 through to 99, so he probably did win his first championship event around about 95, and he's only just come back into the sport, the World Rally Championship, as the team boss of Toyota.
yeah,
And I'm pretty sure he had a Tommy Mäkinen rally game.
And group, yeah, he will have done. And Group N is like the sort of basic the here's a road car, we've taken out the seats, put a roll cage and a rally seat in it, and given it some suspension that won't break. That's pretty much what Group N is.
No, sorry, I was going back to Raikkonen because I know he's done quite well in rallies. On occasion.
But in
1988.
It's either going to be if we're talking if we're going to go down the route of Finnish rally drivers, we're either going to be talking Tommy Mäkinen or Juha Kankkunen.
I'm happy to go with Tommy Mäkinen as
a
our
guess.
answer number
Should
one.
we throw that in as our first guess?
Yeah, guess number 1, Tommy Mäkinen.
I'm Tommy Mäkinen.
Yes.
I was born in 1968 in Finland, obviously. I won 4 world championships.
From 96 to 99.
96, 97, 98 and 99.
Yep.
I have won the Race of Champions solo and nations. I have 24 wins and 45 podiums to my name, and I was Autosport's Rally Driver of the Year 96, 97, 98, 99, but sharing the honour with Colin McRae in 97.
Very nice.
We didn't do too badly there.
Not too badly at all.
very
Tommy
good.
Macadon, rally legend, as I say, now back in the sport as the team boss of the Toyota team, which have only just recently re-entered WRC. Because WRC was, we don't realise how lucky we are with Formula One sometimes, but WRC was one of those sports that really suffered heavily during the financial crisis of like nearly 10 years ago now, where every manufacturer pulled out and you were left with like Seat, Ford, and Mitsubishi, I think, were the only three.
Also,
Three
when
manufacturers.
you're talking about a series which was
Peugeot.
quite reliant on cigarette advertising as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then being more difficult for rally teams
absolutely.
to pull sponsors in.
Yeah, because I mean the Subaru was always had the 555, which of course, as everyone remembers, was one half of the original BAR.
Yeah,
It was, yeah. But the
I still wish they'd let them run the two liveries. I think that would have right
would
now.
have been great, yeah.
It would have changed the game now in Formula
Yeah.
One if they'd done that, because it would have meant that the teams could have had, like, someone could have hired Lance Stroll and Juan Pablo Montoya and had two cars running like priority liveries
Yeah.
in each car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a
So you
No,
don't you mean Felipe Massa and not Montoya?
no.
Oh.
No, I'm just talking about two
Two completely different drivers.
Massive drivers.
two guys that would
So
have brought a
you
lot
could
of
have all,
sponsorship
you could have all the Tommy Hilfiger stuff on Lance
Yeah,
Stroll's
yeah.
car and all the Martini stuff on the
Yeah.
older driver's car.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
my problem with that would be that the 555 and the Lucky Strike cars
Yeah.
don't look like they're one team.
No, but I don't think. See, this is the other thing.
know.
I don't think they need to, because that then would be.
I think they should.
No, but the 555 car, you'd have thought, well, that's Jacques Villeneuve. So if anything, it's better for people because it's a personality-driven sport then, because each individual driver's car is different.
I'm happy with them having different sponsorships, but
Yeah.
I would
A similar livery at least,
I would
yeah.
like you to look at the two cars and say
That's a
they're part of the
team.
same team.
Yeah.
Like with race engineering in GP2 last year, because there was one car with like Goodfellas Pizza and Fox's Biscuits on,
Yeah.
and then Norman Nato's car had something completely different
But
because
you
they had
get-
all the French brands
You
of
get it.
United Foods or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
But
that
in
they were called.
MotoGP, you get some of the smaller teams will run two bikes with completely different liveries, and they're the same team.
Yeah, I mean it used to be a thing because I remember reading can't remember what book it was, but it was about the history of McLaren. Can't remember what the book was called, and there was just after they got the Marlboro.
Ron, my life as a god.
Yeah, that'll be it. But just after they got the Marlboro sponsorship, they ran a third car in one race with their old sponsor on because they used to be sponsored by Yardley Perfumes. So they ran two red and white cars
Yeah.
with the Marlboro branding all over them, and one orange car with the Yardley.
Oh wow.
And that was sort of early 70s, just slightly pre James Hunt.
Yeah.
You see, I don't see much of a problem running two liveries as long as they look similar, or you can tell somehow that they're part of the same team just by looking at them at first glance. But as I was saying before, I don't think we realised quite how lucky we were in Formula One. Yeah, Honda pulled out, didn't they? And you had the Brawn in 2009, which was great for the sport. But there's so many other sports suffered because manufacturers were just like, can't put money into that at the moment because we don't know where things are going, and just can't be spending hundreds of thousands shipping cars all over the world as marketing tools essentially.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're there for, and that's when you had the Sebastian Loeb winning multiple world championships in the Citroen leading up to that.
One thing, something's got to go, either the racing division or our massive bonuses.
Well, yeah,
So we'll get rid of the racing
Yeah.
division. Yeah. BMW have actually said that they've got no plans to re-enter Formula One.
as have Ford.
But as haven't Volkswagen.
Have Volkswagen actually got the money to do anything because of all the fines that they got for the emissions? Though?
They're not the only ones anymore. There's quite a few other manufacturers getting punished for the same sort of thing. It's just the Volkswagen were the first ones that get caught. With the American ownership of Formula One being quite high news story of recent weeks, there's a big story in America about, I wonder if we'll see a Ford returning to Formula One. Ford were one of the most successful teams, successful engine manufacturers in Formula One. Was it third, I think, on the most successful list of all time?
Yeah, and for a while, Ford, the Cosworth DFV was the only engine in Formula One.
I think that ran for like 22 years as well. Yeah. You wouldn't get an engine now running for 22 years, would you?
No.
So, yeah, and they've come out and flat denied it. Basically, we're not looking to get into Formula One. I wouldn't be surprised if, for the same reasons as I've mentioned on previous podcasts, they're not that interested in hybrids. Some manufacturers disagree that hybrid is the way forward, and those who see it as a prototype formula aren't going to bother ploughing millions of development into hybrid engines when they're not philosophically going that way with their road cars. It just doesn't make sense.
See, I still stand by the fact that I don't think Formula One needs to be a prototype series. I think for it to be worthwhile to car manufacturers, all it needs to be is financially viable for the men to. If it was cheaper to make engines, and it didn't involve so much technology, it wouldn't matter what was in the car. All the manufacturer would be interested in is that their car was winning races. So then to the great unwashed masses that are going to go out and buy cars, it's not a case of, the hybrid Ford engine's good. It's just, Ford are winning loads of races.
Yeah, there is that.
And if it's purely a marketing tool.
I'd like to see them say, okay, you're allowed this much petrol or this much diesel or...
A diesel Formula One car would be awesome.
Or the equivalent of other fuels. So it's limited. You're not allowed to just burn all the fuel you can.
Yeah.
Apart from that, you want V10s, build V10s. You want V12s, build V12s. You want hydrogen, use hydrogen.
Yeah, but I always think that a basic, simple set of rules is better than the very tight, almost GP1 style Formula One that we've got at the moment, where
dictating how to build the car.
Yeah, who was it that was saying that the cars are going to look exactly the same if you took the paint off them for 27?
Fry.
Was it Patrick Fry? Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Saying you wouldn't Pat Fry. You wouldn't know the car if you took the paint off the 2017 cars. You wouldn't be able to tell them apart. I actually think you'd struggle to do that with a lot of 2016 cars. To be honest with you, there are slight differences, but yeah.
As I've said in the podcast before, not to us because we're fucking geeks, but no sport can just run on no global sport can run on just having a core niche audience, because niche isn't global.
Yeah.
Niche is niche. So as much as we try and pretend that Formula One doesn't need casual fans, it doesn't need the Sunday, I'll just put the motor racing on.
It absolutely does.
Yeah. But the great unwashed masses of Formula One watching, I think they would massively struggle. If you gave them a 97 car, a 96, 98, 2001, 2014, 2016 car, and turn around and say, which car raced last year? Unless you were talking to a Formula One fan, it would be, I don't know, they're all...
I don't know, it looks like a Formula One car.
Yeah, they're all Formula One cars, they all look the same.
Yeah, I mean, we've said before, and it's quite clear as well, that the casual Formula One fan will tune in for the Monaco Grand Prix. The the Grand Prix that happens closest to their, if they got a Grand Prix in their country, or the one closest where their home racer might be racing, and then the championship decider.
Yeah,
there's 3 races that you're probably going to find the casual Formula One.
But that's when Formula One's boring, though. If Formula One isn't boring, then the casual Formula One fan will watch Formula One with a Sunday lunch.
Yeah.
Every week.
Every other week. That was a good race last time. I'll have to watch the next one.
Yeah, and that's what Formula One needs to sort out.
Yeah.
Which is why I think 2017 really needs to get off on a flyer.
Unfortunately, and it's a Bernieism, but it needs the show.
Does need
Yeah.
to show that's it's entertainment.
It's going to be under a microscope in Australia. It really is, and I mean, it's not just the casual fans who are going to be watching and thinking, "I want to see what it's like with these new rules."
Mm-hmm.
And my mate has told me about all these new rules, down at the garage, and he says it's going to be really interesting to watch. We're going to watch it,
Oh no! My mate who listens to this really good podcast told me about all these new rules.
Yeah.
and it's going to be awesome.
BBC.
So I'm not going to get up at silly o'clock in the morning to watch it, but I'll watch the rerun when it's on at like 11 in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they can sit down to watch it with their cooked breakfast on a Sunday morning or whatever, and the race is dull as dishwater.
Yeah.
And he's probably not going to watch it again for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because they're the people that F1 needs to convince to start watching. And like you just said, it needs the show.
Yeah.
Do you know what else it needs to do as well? It needs to work its cameras out better, because as far as cameras for just giving you information on what's going on, they're working grand. But when you look at oval racing, for instance, is a good one for this, they'll always have that side-on camera, which is completely fucking useless for anything but showing you how quick the motherfuckers are going.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that look out from the car side,
Yeah.
sort of at another car passing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like that in Formula One.
They do have the ones that stick up from the road and get run over by the cars, but that
But
doesn't look good to me.
It doesn't really give you a sense of speed that the ones they use in IndyCar do, especially since they started putting the ones on pivots in there.
Yeah.
Where it's pointing backwards. You can see how fast that the car that you're on is going and how much quicker somebody's coming up behind you. And then the camera tracks to follow the car that's overtaking.
Yeah.
And not only do you get a sense of how fast the car that you're on is going, but how much faster.
I'll tell you what
I mean, off circuit. They need them like when you get the ones at the stand, because even that you're dealing with relative speed there, aren't you? So everything looks like it's moving quite calmly.
Yeah, the problem is though with a lot of circuits, you get a side on camera, but the car doesn't have a long enough straight to be filmed side on for a long time.
No, you don't need it for a long time though. All you need it for is
Just a zoom pass.
It's like standing on one of the side roads on Bray Hill for TT, where you see the bikes go past at 160 and you see them for less than a tenth of a second.
Because that's what people that watch Formula One television don't understand as well. That haven't ever been to a race circuit is how fucking big a race circuit is. Until after a race has been
how
on,
long the straights
and
are.
you have to walk down one of those straights to get to your car. It's fucking ridiculous. And then when you consider it pops in your head, go like the main straight, not the main straight. Sorry,
I was thinking about this.
top of Eau Rouge.
Yeah.
That straight, and you
Kimmel Straight.
Yeah, and you're walking down this motherfucker for like half an hour. Then you think it took me half an hour to walk to the end of this. Formula One cars are nailing it in 25 seconds.
Well, there's that, and also I was actually thinking about this. Everybody who plays the Formula One game, like as we will be for Formula Lee when you start that up quite soon. When you get toward for your braking point at the end of straights, you think 200 meters, 100 meters, they come up like that, bang, 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 bang. Yeah, that's quite a distance still. 200 meters away from a corner
to go 1, 2, 3.
Brake, and then into the corner, and then you're thinking, well, hang on a second, to walk 200 meters, that'll take me a good 45 seconds, a minute, probably to walk that long. So, and then they're like bang, 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 turn, done, gone. So when you look
walk
at
200 meters, I'll get a taxi.
So I think that's it. It's not so much the fact that Formula One isn't exciting. I just don't think they're allowing people to realise it's exciting sometimes.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to the mailbag?
Go on,
We've
then.
had quite a few. We have had quite a few.
Oh, I'll leave you in charge of that then, Paul. Who have
Right.
we got?
Something from Kevin Thompson.
Hello,
who
Kevin.
All right,
is,
Kevo.
recovering, shall we say. He's a big New England Patriots fan.
Oh, so he'll be celebrating after last night's...
He will be celebrating after last night's Super Bowl win. That's American hand egg.
We were talking about it before.
I know, but you normally make that joke, and I thought I'd just get in there before you.
It's
did.
not me
it's
that
not
makes the
American
hand egg
hand-
joke.
Yeah, it's American peanut hugging.
Okay.
Carry on.
Yeah. Kevin says, I really hope Chase Carey doesn't make every Grand Prix weekend like a Super Bowl because my nerves can't handle that 20 times a year.
Well, it depends who you're supporting, I suppose. If you're a New England Patriots fan and you had...
The giveaway is his profile picture is the New England Patriots logo.
Well, there you go. If you're a New England Patriots fan and you had to go through the ringer with that last night, then fair enough. If you're, for example, a Nico Rosberg fan and you had to go through that with those closing few laps in Abu Dhabi in, was that end of November?
Yeah.
Then you
Seems
probably...
so long ago.
I know, yeah. You probably went through that then.
Luckily, no one had to worry about that.
But
if you're a Nico Rosberg fan now, you obviously like trophy spotting.
Luckily, no one has to worry about that.
What he goes on to say is, what I would like to see by the final stage of a race is numerous battles taking place. It would make for a good show if by the end all of the teams are similarly matched and fighting each other.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea at all. But I think all the teams go out there to try and beat the teams that they're closely matched with. All the midfield teams want to be the ones on the back.
I mean,
of the top six.
no sport has that. No sport has it where you have like 10 or 15 teams in, and towards the very closing stages of a race or a season or a game.
Touring cars about the only one.
No, but even touring cars doesn't. Not all the cars could win the race.
No, and then but
you still want to see positional battles at the end of a race rather than
but I'm just saying
settling back and I'm in 8th.
That'll do.
I could push for 7th, but I'll just
that's to say. But you get that in any motorsport. That's one thing. Just because we like Formula One doesn't mean that we can get all millennial about it and expect it to be better than it is actually possible.
Getting all millennial about it means nobody would understand us.
I don't think anyone does understand us.
No, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing in football, British football, soccer, association football. Teams close down the game 10, 15 minutes before the end. We're 2-0 up. Let's not take any risks. Let's try and slow the whole game down. Pass the ball to each other. Pass it back.
Unless they're managed by Roy Hodgson, then they go 1-0 up after 20 minutes and then close the game down.
Yeah.
And then don't win.
No, exactly. But then the pass, pass it back to the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper boots it upfield. They gain possession again. Pass it back to the goalkeeper.
You sound like a Simpsons episode.
Exactly. Yeah. There is a Simpsons episode with that in it. But that's it's the same. I agree with Lee on that point. It's the same with a lot of sports. In the ones that are winning get themselves into a safe-ish position, and then they just sort of, all right, that's kind of safe. We don't need to push too hard.
There's also the other thing you've got to remember is the internet's, which is where most of the shouting comes from. The internet's reaction to everything is overreaction and negative overreaction.
Yeah,
this has been a long time bugbear of yours. It's the loudest negative voices that get heard on the internet.
Yeah,
and ESPN comments are wonderful for reading. If you're ever feeling down, just go and read the comments on ESPN the stories. They are hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's our listeners should be happy with themselves that they appear to be some of the clever Formula One fans.
Yeah.
There's some fucking dross out there. I don't even want them as listeners. It's fucking disgusting.
John moved the soapbox out of the way now. There it goes. Got one from James Holman. Now he says
Hi, James.
It's more of a ponder than a question, but it's something that I'd not thought of, and didn't share this one with you first. I want to see your initial reactions. Do you think pit stops will be slower or have more mistakes next season as the tyres are heavier and wider? That is a bloody good point.
It is a good point, but I don't think this is something that's not going to be thought about by the teams.
I'm sure there'll be extra training going on with the pit crews.
Yeah. Weight training. They will have had these tyres for a wild sort of sample. Did we get?
But it does make sense if the tyres are 50% wider. Is it?
Yeah.
Then they're going to be
little.
Proportionally heavier.
Yeah,
a bit heavier.
Not 50% heavier, but
no,
but a bit.
But the wheels are wider as well. It's not just the tyres are wider; the wheels are wider, so there's going to be a bit of weight in them.
Yeah.
So there's going to be more rubber and more metal that they're actually
there's
lifting.
more stuff to move, so it's going to be slower. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I never actually thought it would have an effect, but
the only thing I would say there is it might end up being easier because all the bits are going to be larger.
Well, yeah, but I mean, are the days of the sub 2 second pit stops gone now then? Because
I reckon there will be.
because you've got to get that big wheel out of the way and the other big wheel on to the spindle.
Because they're gonna have more distance to move the wheel to get it out before moving the new one on.
I don't think it's going to be a huge difference, but I
think we're going to see a couple of tenths.
No, but is it easier?
2.2 rather than 1.9 being the best.
Is it easier to thread a needle or stick your finger in a donut?
Depends how big the hole is.
Yeah, but that's
is it a jam donut or a ring donut?
I was going to say it's a ring donut.
Oh right, I was going to say if it's a jam donut, then
no, there's already a hole in it. But the
Every time you mention donuts, by the way, I can't help but think back to something you said years ago. It's impossible to eat a donut without looking like you're scared of it. Yeah. That was one of your pearls of wisdom from probably a night in the pub.
I stand by that. It's in the same way that you can't light a cigarette on a gas stove without looking like Liam Gallagher. No, it's that one.
Yeah, but if you light a cigarette on a gas stove badly, you'll never look like Liam Gallagher again because you won't have eyebrows.
No, you look like Noel. But yeah.
Pit stops.
No, right,
pit
yeah.
stops, yeah.
So if the bit that's on the car bit and the hole on the wheel are all larger and all the dimensions are bigger, then it might be easier. It might be less.
The spindle's not wider though, I don't think.
I'd imagine.
Out further.
I would imagine it'd be bigger.
Right. I'm betting slightly slower.
Right.
Yeah, I think
I'm going with you on that. Slightly slower.
I think slightly slower, but I don't think we'll notice it. I really don't.
No, I still think it might be slightly slower to start with, but I think we'll still have sub 2 seconds pit stops.
Quite possibly.
Maybe by the end of the season, but at first I think we're going to see sort of the 2.2, 2.3s.
Yeah.
For Williams and if Red Bull fuck up again, they can time it with a calendar.
But they'll be desperately practicing these pit stops, knowing that they're going to. The cars are wider as well. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the guys have further to run with the tyres.
Like a half. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
no.
I've been an extra 20 centimetres.
I've been playing Motorsport Manager for the last couple of weeks because it was on a special offer on Steam, so I thought I'll treat myself to it. I'm enjoying it.
Right.
I'm enjoying it, but when it comes,
that was a suggestion from Michael Cohen some months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, we start Motorsport Manager thing. I don't think they're doing online yet, but that's coming in one of the future upgrades. And you can actually, in all 3 different series that's in there, you can instruct your pit crew how fast to do the pit stops, and the faster you tell them to work, the more chance of them getting it wrong there is.
Oh, right.
I thought that was a really good little detail. Yeah. You can tell them to go safe where there's like a 7% chance of them making an error, or steady and standard, or quick emergency stop.
Is it like a Steam Workshop thing? So has it been modded so you can have all proper teams and stuff in it?
Yeah, they've actually released the official Steam Workshop kit for it now.
Nice.
So you can put real team liveries in there. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But I'll be doing that soon.
Yeah. Tell me when you can do that. I might buy it then.
Well, you can do it now. It's there.
So people have done.
People have done it, and there are downloads of new proper team liveries available.
Ooh.
As Lee thinks, right? Okay, I'll be going on Steam as soon as you lot have all gone.
Good question. It was a good question.
It was a good question.
Thanks,
James has got
how unusual.
James has got another one, which I think we should open up to everyone because it'd be too long for us to give our answers now. But something that we want people to send in. Liberty have said they want 25 races in a season,
including an ice race.
Baby.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily
Not necessarily a nice race.
We covered this last week, didn't we? It's 25 races, and they want to do a couple more in the US. Probably one in Iceland, and maybe 1 or 2 somewhere else.
Yeah, classic European races. Stay on
Yeah.
there. What he said is, what would be your ideal fantasy season calendars?
Narnia.
What 25 race fantasy?
25 race calendar. So send us
round 1 Narnia, round 2 King's Landing,
round 3 Sealand.
You got to get Mordor in there because you can't walk to Mordor.
No, that's a good point.
You've got to drive there. But yeah, send us your the 25 tracks, 25 circuits that you would like to see a Grand Prix on, not Narnia.
25 circuits.
25
so hang on a second.
circuits.
So
Current or previous, either Formula One or world-class motorsport circuits.
Yes.
I just realised it'd be like
Nice. This is a cool thing to do.
Yeah, obviously it'd be the Narnia Street Circuit. So
Well, you'd get your ice race there.
Yeah, you would. But you know how you get like them going through like Baku when they go around the castle.
Yeah.
Obviously, Narnia would be through the wardrobe as the iconic like part of the circuit.
And somebody's going to be modding F1 2016 for that.
Can't mod it.
Can't you?
No.
That's where the pits are, just after the wardrobe, so you can
Yeah.
change your tyres.
I was playing...
But hang on, doesn't going through the wardrobe do funny things to time?
Don't think so.
Yeah, all the
'cause-
time that passes when you're through the wardrobe, no time passes when you're on the other side of the wardrobe.
Oh, does it not?
No, because...
Yeah,
So
that's the way it
Schumacher would
works.
do his pit stop outside of the wardrobe or inside of the wardrobe.
Yeah.
One of the two.
No, he'd serve his penalty inside of the wardrobe.
I think he'd drive through, see snow, and freak out.
Yeah, he'd somehow win the race in the wardrobe, but nobody would know how.
Yeah. But going back to what James has said, yeah, send us your 25...
Your ideal 25
your
race
ideal 25
calendars.
circuits. Doesn't have to be Formula One. It could be any world-class
So, I mean,
motor
you can
circuit
think
because he's got Road America on here, which has never hosted a Formula One race. But
And Laguna Seca's on mine.
Yeah,
Which
that would be
never
nice.
will host a Formula
That
One
first
race.
This
half
is a
lap would
corkscrew.
be amazing.
The corkscrew would be
Yeah,
so
nine
good.
stories, is it, or something like that?
Yeah.
yeah, and he's put a wildcard edition in here for a race in Thailand at something called the Burinam circuit, which I'm not familiar with, so I'm going to have to look that one up.
Thailand,
At some point.
the
Yeah.
Thailand
Is that
Grand Prix.
actually the incline?
9 stories, yeah, 9 story, like a
That's
9-story
mental.
building.
I didn't
Yeah,
realise that.
yeah, the
I wonder if
corkscrew.
they could go up it.
Don't know, possibly.
You know, for Formula One car, I wonder because obviously you couldn't go down it.
Well, you might be able to.
I don't know.
MotoGP did it. They didn't all take off, did they? When they went over the corkscrew.
Got bikes.
Well,
And that, don't
Laguna Seca, well, IndyCars can go down it, because I've seen IndyCar races there.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh right. Okay.
First IndyCar game I had, well, first racing game I had on the PC was IndyCar '93.
But what about professional motorsport?
Oh, I don't know about that then.
But no, I mean, looking at the circuits that even recently that were on the calendar that I quite enjoyed. I mean, I actually thought the Indian circuit was a good circuit for racing, but
Yeah.
it only lasted what 2 years,
About
3
that.
years. And then
Indian circuit. Are we back on my fantasy ones? Because then if that case, I can have a pirate one.
oh dear, I was thinking more like the Bud International Circuit in India. Good lord, Lee.
See,
dear.
I was thinking about
You've
the
got-
Captain Jack Sparrow one
And
on
I
a
like-
pirate ship.
I like the one at Istanbul as well, the Turkish Grand Prix. It was a fast circuit, fast free-flowing circuit, and if I remember rightly, F1 2010 that was on the game, and I enjoyed driving around that. It was cool.
Yeah,
Shit races though, wasn't it, Turkey?
Well, Red Bull were
Red
Red
Bull
Bull
took each
were
other
keen
off.
on it.
No,
Yeah.
they took each other. Not many people turned up to the race, though, did they? That's I think was the main problem with the Turkish race.
Well, it was round about the time that there was no money, and all the teams were pulling out because there was no money. No one had money to buy the tickets.
Was it Turkey where they always had the problem with lots of sand blowing onto the track? Or was that somewhere else that
It
was
was
in the middle of the
Bahrain.
desert?
I think that was Bahrain.
Bahrain.
I still fucking love.
I'm
the
looking
fact
forward to
that-
doing that though for next week.
Yeah, I still love the fact that the Bahrain Grand Prix that year when it was like there's quite a lot of civil unrest outside. Should we sort of think about human rights and stuff? Yeah, you're probably right, Bernie. Night race, yeah.
It wasn't just that.
After the curfew.
yeah. It wasn't just that. It was just it was the complete and total shutdown of anybody to do with Formula One was not allowed to mention the civil unrest that was going on in
Yeah.
Bahrain.
And Mark Webber mentioned it.
Mark, yeah. So kudos
Good man.
to Mark Webber.
We've got another one on a similar subject from James Totti. First time
Another
he's been
James.
in touch. Yes. Oh, hi James.
Hi James, you're tearing me apart.
He'll know what that means.
What?
Every time we get somebody new sending a Facebook message, well, we've got the option to view their profile.
Yeah.
And I had a look at James's profile, and about a year, sort of scrolled down about 2 pictures, and his cover picture was Tommy Wiseau from The Room.
Oh, right.
Have you seen that film?
No, but you
So you won't get the joke.
No, but you sounded like a camp Nazi. Like, hi, James.
That's what
That's
how
what he sounds like.
All right, okay.
Yeah, to be fair, that's how he sounds. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy was described as sounding like somebody what was it, Al Pacino trying to do an impression of Borat in a mental institution.
Nice. It's quite.
That's just a very, very accurate.
Yeah, it's been called the
I'd say-
Citizen Kane of bad movies.
So someone who learned how to speak English from reading a book.
Yeah, but the
they'd,
book.
they'd heard it described, but never heard it in
Yeah,
real life.
but, but the problem was the book was in French. What James says, anyway, is just a quick question. Now that Liberty Media are saying they want to potentially increase the number of races to 25 per season, what circuits would you like to see on the calendar? So that fits in with the other James's emails.
does.
Except this one is more grounded in circuits that might actually turn up on the calendar.
You want to say
So
reality,
not
don't
Watkins
you?
Glen and not Narnia.
Yeah.
No, sorry, not
Not Watkins Glen.
not Laguna Seca and not Narnia.
Laguna Seca might happen.
It won't.
Probably won't.
I'd love it to. It won't.
Yeah. Dan, you're a big cycling fan. Did you see any of last year's Tour of California,
They went
I
down
saw
the
a little
corkscrew,
bit,
didn't
yeah.
where
they?
they
But-
where all the cyclists went down the corkscrew
Yeah.
tentatively?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like coming down Alpe d'Huez.
Dan's a
Yeah.
big downhill fan. You would love my life.
But just sort of change it round a bit. Where do you think would make a good street circuit?
The street.
Yes, a street. That would make a good street circuit.
A
But
city,
what cities?
Well, yeah, like a city centre, like a landmark
Compton,
city.
because that's probably street.
Oh, good God, Dan, really? A city where there
That was, if I may, that was the whitest NWA reference I think anyone has ever heard.
Thank you very much.
where it's got like landmark backdrops, somewhere like Paris, London. That'll do. New York. New York, the New Jersey race, I think would have worked quite well with the Manhattan skyline, sort of just over the river.
Yeah.
I think that there'd be the more attractive looking races. Whether or not they'd actually make good races, you can't really tell. I mean, Azerbaijan, the Baku city circuit, pretty good circuit actually. When you actually had a go on the PlayStation game, but didn't produce a great race. Although we had this conversation last week, didn't we? With Sochi didn't produce a great race. Street races, I think.
I reckon British cities would make better street circuits than American ones do.
Because they're
Because they're not
boxes.
laid out on grids.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at the Phoenix race in was it Phoenix or Detroit, the USGP, where it was just right angles, constant right angles.
Yeah. If they're going to do Vegas, do it on the strip rather than a car park.
Yeah,
That'd have to be a night race.
that would be quite cool, actually. That
Yeah.
a Vegas street race might be quite
Yeah.
cool.
Berlin.
Berlin would be
possibly?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Berlin.
Although Berlin's having problems getting a circuit because I think Formula E's about to move on to its third different circuit in 3 seasons.
Oh,
this year.
really?
Yeah.
I
'cause
was just thinking of landmarks like there's
around the Brandenburg Gate, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Well, the problem with San Francisco is everything's on a hill.
And
Imagine the Formula One cars coming down Nob Hill.
doing the bullet jumps, like Steve McQueen style.
Oh, got Max Verstappen doing it. Jesus.
Pastor Maldonado.
I've walked around Berlin and I'd never walked around a city that had so many things to look at in such a condensed area.
I've got it. Rome.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
A street circuit
Through the
in
Colosseum.
Rome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or around the Colosseum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Although not to take away from the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, or the potential of a Grand Prix at Imola.
But
yeah.
picking up chunks of carbon fibre from 2,000
Do you
year
know
old
what,
ruins.
Yes.
I'm done with Monza. You know, we always build that up to be more than it is.
I love Monza. I
But it's
always
not a
look
good
forward
race.
to it. Oh, I think it's been a good race in recent years.
I can't think of one like not like an exciting race.
Definitely think of exciting moments in Monza.
Oh, there's always exciting moments, but the top and bottom of it is whichever car can go fastest in a straight line wins that race.
That's
Yeah. That's,
You know, it's
yeah.
it's as I mean, I used to like the idea of Hockenheim, the old Hockenheim.
Yeah, because that wasn't necessarily the fastest car in a straight line.
It was most of the time.
Not all the time, because you had go back to Monza as well. You had that thing where remember the Jensen Button ran a really high wing, And everyone was like, "What's he doing? He's not. He's going to have all the drag."
Yeah,
on
but
the straights."
McLaren was still the second fastest car behind the fastest Ferraris.
Yeah,
and
but-
that's how they finished.
Yeah, but they didn't. Nobody managed to pass Jensen on the straights because he was so fast out of the corners.
Yeah, no, but the thing was, the Ferraris did, but even though he had extra wing on, he was still faster in a straight than the rest of the cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why he finished third.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Right, I've got another one here got a tweet from Bradley Chambers.
Hello, Bradley.
New follower, so hi there. I think I can predict Lee's answer to this anyway. But
Cunt.
I'm writing this down because you haven't heard the question yet. Question for all of you. If you could drive for one team, who would it be and who would be your teammate? So which team, Lee, which team would you have Jensen as your teammate?
I wouldn't have Jensen as a teammate because I couldn't win, could I? Who would you have? I don't know.
It's a good question.
Ferrari, because they pay the most money. And
It's Ferrari.
No, I don't care about Ferrari. I just think the check would be the biggest. And Barrichello, because he'd let me win. I'd just cheap it, like full on. I'd be the cheapest Formula One driver ever.
The cheapest,
Yeah,
but getting the
no,
cheapest, but getting the biggest check.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'd be the cheapest. Like, I'd be upset with everything. Like, unless the rules were specifically built for me, I'd piss and whinge and complain.
Just like Formula Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to annoy Lee and say McLaren with Jensen Button as my teammate because McLaren because it's McLaren and Jensen Button because he'd be a great teammate to learn from, and also he wouldn't get that pissed off even when Perez was being a bit of a
Change
twat
my
to
mind.
him.
Change my mind with my teammate. I want Schumacher, but now.
What, Mick Schumacher?
No. Well, kind of, yes.
Ralph?
Brother
Ralph.
Brother Ralph, yes.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to piss Lee off. Jordan.
Why do we want to piss Lee off?
I don't want to, I just...
You don't want to, it's just something that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd like to drive for Jordan with Johnny Herbert as my teammate from the mid-90s.
Why does that piss me off?
Because
Because
that would
I am aware of your feelings on Eddie Jordan.
Yeah, no, but I would love Jordan as a team when it was there. It's only as soon as Jordan disappeared and Eddie Jordan transferred into fucking Jordan the television prick.
It's Jordan the pundit you don't
yeah,
like.
yeah,
Ah, right, okay.
No, I would love to drive for Eddie Jordan.
yeah.
Mine would be, and this just shows the complete hedonistic side of me.
A chariot.
Oh. Hesketh?
No. Red Bull with Kimi as my teammate. Because the parties would be that hard, Andrew WK would look at us and go, "You are partying hard."
Fair enough.
We've had a suggestion from regular tweeter Jana Urbanski.
Hello, Jana.
Howdy.
Hello.
This is following on from a bet on the Super Bowl last night that my cat made. A successful bet on the Super Bowl that my cat made.
Your psychic cat.
My psychic cat that earned me 17 quid on the Super Bowl bet last night, bet responsibly.
Pet responsibly.
Oh. Why don't we, for next season, because I've done this getting my cat to predict the outcome of sporting events and occasionally putting money on it. Set up my cat, Dizzy, against Jensen, the Instagram cat, or Instakitty, because he's not Podcat, because that's Ruben.
Yeah.
For making predictions for the next F1 season.
I'll have to make sure that it isn't against his religion or anything like that.
I mean,
but I'm sure
if you
it'll
got
be
enough, what we're gonna do? Put.
Photos, videos. We'll stick them on the Instagram page, because she also says, "Why don't you do anything interesting with Instagram?" And it's like, yeah, we don't, do we?
No, not really.
No. We occasionally put photos of the show notes or laptops that are breaking down, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, how about for this season, get photos of cats making F1 predictions?
Yeah, I'm down
Because
for
cats
it.
have always been a fairly big part of this podcast for various reasons. Usually because they're between one of us and a microphone, or standing on a laptop, or
Then
knocking
hopefully
something over.
people can pick their favourite cat and then bet their money.
Based on what that
Based
cat
on what that
bets on.
cat says.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Because the cats are probably going to be more successful at predicting the Grand Prix than we are.
If last season's anything to go by,
Yeah.
I
quite
was
likely.
up in the end. I was up money with my Grand Prix bets.
Right.
Not by a lot.
There is a story behind this. A couple of years ago, when one of my cats, Dizzy, first jumped on my laptop and accidentally made a bet, and it came good. I thought, I'm going to see how this works, and I actually went as far as setting up a Tumblr blog for tracking all her bets every time she jumped on my laptop and putting them against my bets on what I thought particular football matches or NFL matches or any other sporting event that I was feeling like betting a couple of quid on at the time did. And Dizzy actually ended up in enough profit that it covered all my betting losses.
Oh, excellent.
So my cat has got betting history, and I know for a fact that she's better than me.
So psychic pets. as in-
Psychic F1 pets. So we will start that for Australia.
Yeah, definitely. We'll do 3.
Sounds good.
We'll do 2. We'll how are we going to do it?
Hamilton or Bottas?
We can put something on the website. We can put photos of cats making
No,
predictions.
but
How are we actually going to do? Like, who are we going to choose between?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
you
what-
can only do 2. You
Yeah.
can't have 22 mats out or 20 mats out with treats on.
We'll
20
work
mats.
we'll work something out.
You'll have some really fat cats.
I did actually get this is going to sound really wrong. Get the cats to predict lottery numbers once by printing out a sheet with like 1 to 49 on there.
Paul, you're going to have to make your own decisions one day.
Yeah, spraying it with liquid catnip and seeing which numbers they bit or stuck a claw in, and then wait till they've done 6 and then
your cat's
putting-
having like fucking drug-fueled gambling nights.
yeah. I turned my living room into a cat casino.
It's like my past.
Red!
They enjoyed it. They got catnip. I need help.
No.
Got another one here from someone that calls themselves Disappointed on Twitter. Well,
Fucking
call
ever,
themselves Disappointed, and they're on Twitter.
ever the
I-
Optimus.
I'm very.
RT Fits 86.
He's shopped at Nick Heifeld's shop.
Come to Nick Heifeld's shop where we've got everything you need.
Nick Heifeld's World of Disappointment.
No, it's come to our shop where we've got everything you need, Ed.
But nothing. Everything that you need, but nothing you want.
It's not the Nick Heidfeld you want, it's the Nick Heidfeld you deserve.
No.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah, Disappointed. Question for Lee.
Hello.
For this season's Formula Lee, will you switch mid-season to the 2017 game or stick with 2016 all the way through?
I think we'll have to put it out to the community.
It depends how late the 2017 game comes out, because it has been known as well. Sometimes Codemasters will release the Formula 1 game for that year right towards the back end of the season.
It's usually September, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes they have released it as late as October before.
Mind you, this last 16 was out early one.
It was July.
July, so you'd imagine it's going to run the same development path.
It's a
now.
good engine, a good game engine, the one that they've got for the 2016. 2015 was a bit meh. 2016 is a lot better.
Yeah.
If they use the same engine and essentially just update it a little bit for 2017, then that'll be all that's needed, I think.
Just make it a bit wider.
Bit bit fatter tyres.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if enough people want to, that's what it'll be. We'll go with the majority on it. I will. You know, I'm not.
We're not going to force people to buy the game if it's majorly expensive. Or
No,
anything,
not
but
not until
we
Sony
could
and
even
Microsoft.
here's some thinking out loud. Could even run a 2016, 2017 side by side thing until everyone's migrated over. There you are. There's a technical term for you. Migrated over.
Two championships at once. Great. More spreadsheets. Yay.
Or it could be like
You love them.
It can be like real Formula One, though, and we do 2016.
Mid-season rule change.
No, 2016 and 17 together. So essentially, you pay more money, you go faster.
But if you're running out of money, you can get special dispensation to run last year's game.
But there will be a 5-second penalty.
And you've got to use this year's controller.
Derek Schleicher can borrow the money to buy his game off the strength of his last season.
Unless it gets vetoed by one of the other teams.
Yes.
Just
So I hope that hasn't answered your question.
It's kind of answered the question. Let's have a look. Got another couple here, and this page is being incredibly slow loading. Your missus is watching Netflix again, isn't
Saying
she?
that, everyone can sort this out quickly, because if he's messages like knowing you're going to be part of Formula E, and just messages at the beginning of the season saying I'm definitely buying a new Formula One game day one, and then if enough people say it early in the season, then we just know that's the way we're going with it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, let us know. And we don't even have a release date for 2017 yet, so it's going to be 2016.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, everyone that listens to this podcast will probably buy 2017. And to be fair, you'll probably want to play the new shiny game as opposed to play last year's game.
But of course, we do realise that not everybody will be able to jump straight on it instantly.
Mm-hmm.
That is very true. Let's see, what else have we got? Oh yes. Shout out to Chris Rowden, who asked for a shout out when I put the post up on Facebook earlier. So
Hello, Chris Rowden.
Hiya, Chris.
Hello.
Chris.
Mike Hassel, just wanted to share my homemade F1 British Champions montage. Can you name them all? Now then.
Well, I had a bit of a close look at this earlier on when Mike posted this up, and I thought, well, that's pretty cool, and a nice montage of
it's
British
a picture
champions.
of 9 cars, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nine cars.
There are nine cars.
Well, no, I say 9 British champions.
Are you going to break? You've got to break.
I'm
this
going to
too.
break the news to Mike gently.
Shall we just read out the names of the drivers?
I think I can remember the order they're in. I think top left you're looking at it's basically 3 rows of 3. So I think top left you're looking at Graham Hill.
You can see this on our Facebook page, by the way.
Yeah.
It was a comment on one of our posts.
Oh, excellent. So I think top left you're looking at Graham Hill.
You are.
And I think Jim Clark in the centre.
Mm-hmm.
With I think it's John Surtees on the right in the Ferrari.
It looks like it because the car is red.
Yeah, I think it's John Surtees. Then in the middle you got Damon Hill on the left.
You have
Jensen Button in the centre. The
Where?
large picture.
the biggest picture right in the middle, just for you.
Yeah.
And then Lewis Hamilton on the right hand side. Which leaves the bottom row. On the bottom left, is it Jackie Stewart?
It is.
And then James Hunt.
In the bottom row in the middle.
Yep. And then the final picture.
It's got to be Nigel Mansell, hasn't it?
Well, British champions, you would think so, except that's not a picture of Nigel Mansell. Sorry, Mike.
You got the car right.
You got the car right. We got the wrong driver. That's Riccardo Patrese. That's, if you look really closely, that's a white number 6 and not a red number 5.
And also, if you type in Riccardo Patrese into a Google image search, that's the first picture that comes up.
Yeah.
The hint in that as well
That's not
is a
9.
number and colour.
Well, yeah. Red 5, white 6.
Yeah.
That's Riccardo Patrese, who was not British nor a world champion. So really sorry to break that to you, Mike, but that's
It's a lovely montage.
It's a
great
brilliant montage. And the only British champion you're missing off the montage, of course, is Mike Hawthorne, who was the first British world champion.
Didn't do too badly over bikes as well, if I remember rightly.
Mike Hawthorne, possibly.
Yeah.
Not too sure if he did.
I think he had a couple of successes in bikes as well.
Maybe
he retired from Formula One as soon as he won the world championship, though.
Maybe he was trying to
Did an eco.
confuse us. He was trying to test to see how much we knew about British Formula One drivers.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, it could be a trick question. If it is a trick question, I spotted it. Oh, I got it.
Of course, now I've said that, he can't say that because we just won't believe him.
Yeah, exactly. But I know. I mean, I looked at that and I thought, well, that kind of looks like Nigel Mansell, but that's not Mansell's car. And I zoomed in and had a look and said, that's not a number. What, a red number 5. Nigel Mansell was red number 5 in his only world championship year, which was 1992. The white 6 was Riccardo Patrese, who had a very similar helmet, but it was Riccardo Patrese.
You said helmet.
Sorry, Mike.
I don't know where to go from that. William Mora, another new listener. Well, another new contactor. He said long-time listener, first-time caller.
Hello,
Hey,
William.
Will.
And said he donated to Patreon as well. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you very much,
William.
William.
You're one of the ones I like.
It's very rare that you like people.
It's really funny. It always ends up like weirdly being Patreons.
Odd that.
Yeah, it's so fucking strange.
William says, and we kind of covered this a little bit earlier with the story about Verline maybe not making the first test But do you think recent updates about Pascal's injury at Race of Champions will make it less likely for other F1 drivers to participate at it in the future?
I fucking said this before the podcast, didn't I?
You did, when we were discussing what we were going to talk about
You're
during
clearly
the
a
podcast.
very clever man.
I don't know if it's Robert Kubica. We were discussing him earlier. He was doing an extra thing when he was doing was it a charity rally he was doing? Or was he just doing a rally just for?
It was
for
just
fun?
shits
a
and
rally, I
giggles
think.
rally.
Just-
Yeah.
Just a local rally in
Yeah.
in wherever it was he was living at the time, and that's where he had his accident, which put paid to his Formula One career. Kimi Raikkonen.
Well, it had a hand in it.
Definitely. Kimi Raikkonen competes in snowmobile races under the name James Hunt, so that he doesn't.
Probably doesn't anymore now it's in the public domain.
Well, he was doing so, and he.
I think he now goes under the name of Hellman Longdrink.
Well, no, he broke his finger, didn't he? Before a World Championship season started some years ago. Mark Webber, did he crash his bicycle?
that was
Mountain
a mountain
biking,
bike
yeah.
crash.
Mountain bike?
Broke his leg.
Broke his leg not long before the start of the Formula One season. So you can't. Yes, these are all stories of people doing things that they do in the off season, but you can't stop them from doing it. I mean, they're not racing cars; they're going to find something else that gives them a bit of a thrill. Much like Michael Schumacher with his unfortunate accident, skiing off piste. It didn't seem like an innocuous accident to start with.
He
but it
shouldn't have been
ended up being-
drinking. That's the problem.
We don't know that he was drinking. We got to be
You
very
just
No,
said
no.
you just said he was pissed.
No, it's
Off-piste.
off-piste, not on the piste.
Oh right, sorry.
He was off piste and he hit his head on a rock. Seemed to be a fairly innocuous accident at first. Turned out to be very serious. You can't wrap them in cotton wool. At the end of the day, they're humans as well as racing drivers, and they will search for that rush of adrenaline.
People die plugging toasters in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in baths.
And other cities as well.
Yes, Gloucester sometimes.
You've given up on me tonight, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, right, great. Shall we call a halt to the proceedings there?
Well, I just
Stop
want to say
scraping
thanks.
the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
I just want to say thanks to Gregory as well, who pointed out a slight mistake I made with the Mercedes 190E race that I was talking about on last week's podcast. I was trying to recall it from memory and I got it wrong. It was actually for the launch of the Nürburgring, the newer Nürburgring circuit, which now Formula One doesn't go to.
Because it can't afford it.
Yeah, that's it. And that's where the race was. I said it was at Budapest, and I got that wrong. And also said it was for the launch of the new Mercedes. It was actually to open the new Nürburgring. So thanks for correcting me on that, Gregory. Always happy to be corrected, especially by people more knowledgeable than myself.
Fucking nerd.
Not at all. Not at all.
Not in the
In
slightest.
the interests of knowledge and spreading the good word of Formula One, I'm quite happy to be corrected.
Lee's not.
It's all about fake news now. If we don't like what we hear, we just make it up.
Your fake news.
Jenson Button, 7 times world champion.
Oh, dear
Dear God. Yeah, but if you want to get in touch with us, you can get hold of us on the Facebook page. Just search for 3 Legs 4 Wheels. Get us on Twitter at 3 Legs 4 Wheels or
At a total shunt.
at Pablo100.
I'm at Flood21.
Or at Danbert.
So we are easily contactable. You can email us 3legs4wheels at gmail.com. And don't forget there's the Patreon page as well. If you search for 3 Legs 4 Wheels on there.
Another Facebook rally as well, because again, there's fucking loads of yous, and we've only got 1,000 people on Facebook.
It's about 1,100. We could do with more Twitter followers as well because we're only on about 400 and odd on there.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
And we get some of our best comments on Twitter as well. So join in with us on Twitter.
Yeah.
'Cause we've had a
And
few.
the season is on its way as well. So
Me-
we'll be available on Twitter, Facebook, during the races is when you
Yeah.
want to be talking to us and the other people.
Oh, no. Leave us alone then. We're watching the race.
That's when incidents happen. That's when we've got the community on the go. We talk to people, and I'm looking forward to getting back on that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait for the live blogs
Yeah.
because that means there's racing going on.
Yes, it does.
And it's always great to talk to other F1 fans during the race
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
because we're all watching the same thing.
I love
Yeah.
my public.
Oh, you are so modest.
Lee Public.
Only in France.
Le public.
We will be back next week. I am sure there will be more news because there's rumblings about the Halo going on.
It's not been confirmed, but there's going to be 2 new devices.
Ferrari put a concept drawing out, haven't they?
Yeah.
Just about 10 minutes before we started recording.
I have.
Sod's law.
But it might not be a bad one to stick down if we can scramble one out of our the Ferrari press releases.
Yeah.
For the picture, but it's essentially the Halo, like Ferrari's Halo, the thing that
comes back on
the
itself.
thin one,
Yeah.
but it's glass covered as well. They're calling it a Halo canopy,
Halo canopy.
something like that. Yeah.
Halo
And
a jalopy.
Red Bull
I believe
have
that's some sort of New York snack.
Red Bull have improved the screen device as well. There's not any supporting struts within the screen, and also they made it out of stronger, I'm guessing, or thicker material that doesn't shatter when it's hit by something at a certain speed, because that was a failure that it had.
It's some kind of different formulation of polycarbonate, I think I read.
Right.
I've fixed it as well. I've fixed the Halo.
Oh, what, when the screen shattered?
Yeah, well, no, when they're there's always been worry about putting the canopy on the Formula 1 car, hasn't there?
Yeah.
Because of a driver getting out.
Because of Alonso, etc.
Right.
Australia last year.
We don't really have gravel traps anymore. So
Apart from where we do.
no, but
Like
even
Australia.
even the gravel traps, they're not like gravel traps used to be, where cars used to get buried in. So
well, they were a lot deeper, and they were ribbed for extra play.
So realistically,
Well, they're supposed to slow the cars down, weren't they? But they bounced.
yeah,
Pleasurably.
you're always going to end up with your car. Sorry about that. I hope that hasn't hurt anybody's ears. You're always going to end up with it on the roll cage, essentially. So my plan was that what you could do is have like the Halo device sort of going across the back of the car, which would be like a reinforcing roll hoop, yeah? And then 3 pieces of glass, 1 piece of glass going up the top, and 2 pieces of plexiglass or whatever it is going up the sides.
Okay.
And inside, you would use the same charges as what they use in fighter jets. Not
Not as powerful,
essentially, but
release pops.
to get rid of the capsule, before they eject. So you'd have the same thing. So if a car crashed, there would either be a way of the marshals triggering those from outside the car to get said driver out of the car, or when said driver crashes, there would be something inside the car so he could do that as well.
Which is fine unless you're upside down.
No, because if you're on the roll,
I see, because of the roll hoop.
because the roll hoop would actually stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you make like the head protectors. You're thinking of like a higher version of that, sort of coming from the back of the car and then over the front. That actually makes a lot of sense. Guess who's just saved Formula 1 again?
The only slight problem I can see with that, you do occasionally get things on Formula 1 cars go wrong.
Yeah, of course.
And imagine someone doing 200 miles an hour in a straight line and the explosives go off.
Yeah.
That'd be quite bad.
It would be, but would it be any? You could say that about a Halo coming off.
Yeah, you're going to have a releasable device to get the driver out of the car.
We've had chunks of cars fall off before. Yeah,
but if we've got chunks of glass exploding in the driver's face,
I don't.
They're still wearing helmets.
Yeah, I don't think it's any more dangerous than when you had a Toro Rosso with both wheels that fell off coming down a straight.
Or a BAR with the rear wing falling off on the fastest part of Albert Park.
Yeah, or K-Mag crashing and his headrest coming off.
Yeah.
The head restraint thing,
the
protector.
Yeah. If you to be perfect, and this is going to sound really stupid, but if you really wanted to do that, just in case, because of like even when the car comes to a standstill, essentially, you still don't want to be flinging like bits of car up in the air. So you could do one of two things. It would release, and the charges would just do enough to throw it off the car, essentially, rather than eject the motherfuckers.
yeah.
Or you put the parachutes on them. That would work. I don't mean so they fucking politely glided down to the floor, but just the fact that as soon as you fired it out, that would open and instantly kill the speed of
just some kind of air brake.
Yeah.
Yeah. The charges, I mean, you could do it with not even as powerful a charge as what's in an airbag.
No. All it would be is enough is to push it out from where it is.
Mm.
And then you just, because the cars are bigger now as well, you could if you made the roll cage slightly higher, so it came up as a bubble, you might be able to work it so a driver could get out from the side.
Sideways, actually.
Yeah, like crawl out of the side of it. Or
That would work.
That would possibly work. Good thought, but we should have actually some more concrete news on what the FIA are looking at next week.
Yeah.
Because there is.
Please start looking at this podcast, because I've made a fucking much better sport than Formula One is.
It's called Formula Lee, and we do,
It's not real, though, is it?
No, but this is real Formula Lee.
It's about as real as fucking Narnia is.
What's your favourite F1 circuit, that is?
Well, that's where Formula Lee will kick off the season.
Right. We'll call it a day for this week, and Lee's going back inside his wardrobe.
Only because it's in driving distance of the Mushroom Kingdom, which is the second round.
Mario Kart.
I was going to
yay!
say, anyone putting Rainbow Road on their Fantasy 25 circuits, instantly disqualified.
No, I would say fucking Gold Star, sir.
But that would make you invincible.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
It's time to throw a red turtle shell at this fucking podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye.